This question is asking us to determine the values of the unknown variables here. So in these two parts, we're going to use the side splitter theorem, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Before we start solving part A, I'm going to throw in all my different all my different values. So I got AD right here, that equals 15. It looks like EC is equal to 4, so that's going to be 4. AC is on the bottom part here, and that's going to be 14. And we're looking for dB. So dB, we'll say, is x up here. Alright, so I mentioned this theorem called the side splitter theorem. And what this is imagine we got a triangle here, right? And we have a line running through this triangle, okay? And we know that this line right here is parallel to one side of the triangle. So let's say this line going through here is parallel to the bottom side of this triangle. Well, what that means is that we've got a part of the triangle here. This length is A. We'll call this length B. And then this top part is going to be D. And then this bottom part is going to be, this part is C. And then this bottom part is D. Okay, so we could set this into a proportion. We could say that A divided by B is going to be the same thing as C divided by D. That's what the side splitter theorem is. And we would have to have these two lines, again, remember, parallel. And that makes this all happen. So let's use this to our advantage. We want to solve for x, right? So let's say if I flip this triangle like over that way and say like BC, that's going to be the bottom, which is that bottom right there. Well, it looks like the value that would match up with C right here would be 15. It's like the top right-hand part of it. Again, if you rotate this triangle to the right. So we could say that 15 will be divided by this little part, x. That's going to be our first fraction. And it's going to be set equal to another fraction. So that's going to be set equal to what we have here is A and B. So this part right here is going to be A, and this is going to be B. Well, B's 4, that's all good, but we don't know what this part right here is. We do know that this entire length, AC, is equal to 14. So if we take 14 and we subtract this part right here, 4, we're left over with 10, and that 10 is going to be this segment here, which is AE. So that would be matching up with our A up there. So I'll write in 10 right there. And to solve for x, I'd cross multiply. So x times 10 will be 10x. 15 times 4 will be 60. So I divide both sides by a 10 to undo the multiplication of 10. And 10 over 10 is just 1 with x. So I'm going to write x down there. And then 60 divided by 10 is 6. So that's going to be my answer there. And remember, we use the side splitter theorem to get that done. In part B, it's a very similar problem, just some more practice, but the first thing I'm going to do is add in all my different information here. So it looks like AB from here to there is going to be 28, right? Actually, I'll write it right on the triangle. DB is going to be 8, and that's this little segment here. It's 8. EC is 10, so this part is 10. And we want to write 3x minus 5 next to AE. So right here's AE, that's going to be 3x minus 5. Okay, so let's apply the side splitter theorem here. If we take this triangle, we just rotate it kind of to our right a little bit. You can see that, here, let's do a different color. I'll do, this is going to be my A, my B, my C, and my D, right? So now that you see those letters, let me erase it so it doesn't look so cluttered. Alright, there we go. So let's set up my proportion. My A value was right here. It was AE, so we're going to do 3x minus 5 divided by our B, and our B was down here. That's going to be EC, which is 10, set equal to our segment that was C right here, but that's missing, right? So we don't know that. However, I do know that from A to B, that's 28, and I know that this little part is 8. So if I take 28 and I subtract 8 from it, I'm left with 20, and that's what AD is going to be. So 20 plus this 8 is that whole 28. And that's what I start off with this fraction with, and I divide it by this little part right here, 8. So that's the side splitter theorem. And I want to cross multiply, right? So that's going to help me solve for my unknown variable. So I take 8 and I distribute that with 3x minus 5, all right? I'll do that in my next step, but I'll just set it up for now. And then 10 times 20, that goes on this side. Now here's where I want to actually distribute. 8 times 3 is 24, and that has an x with it. 8 times negative 5 is a negative 40, so we write minus 40. And then 10 times 20 is 200. And we want to solve from there. So add 40 to this left side to cancel that out. And then I have to add 40 to this right side. So I'm left with 24x equals 240. And then I want to get rid of this 24, so I divide it. 24 over 24 is just 1 with that x. Divide it from that side too. I'm going to be left with x equals 10 because 240 divided by 24 is 10. So there's my answer right there. And again, the theory that we're using is the side splitter theorem.